Is it possible to find a soulmate or a new soulmate after 50? And you had some interesting things to say about that, Paige.
Well, Silka, you know how I feel about soulmates. Did you push record?
Thank you so much for tuning in again to Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life.
Thank you, Paige. Yes. And of course, this is Paige, my co host, coming to us from Tucson, Arizona. And I can't wait till you're back here in studio with us to do this together, Paige.
Me too. Me too. Next month, Silka.
Well, this week, you and I have been talking. We've been going through a few things with friends of ours to where the whole topic of relationships after 50 came up again. Is it possible to find a soulmate or a new soulmate after 50? And you had some interesting things to say about that, Paige.
Well, Silka, you know how I feel about soulmates, that this is not the only lifetime that we travel through and are in. So there's so many different possibilities of different soulmates. So anybody that's out there, just know that there's always somebody waiting there for you to connect, to have fun with, to walk the life with you, and to also teach you and for you to teach them.
Well, and there's so many of us single now. I believe the statistics are 1 in 3 baby boomers or something. I'll have to
Wow.
yeah, don't hold me to that. I have to verify, but it's enormous. What do you say to people that are just discouraged and just no, not for me. I can't imagine doing that, going through that route again.
Well, I know from what I've seen for women, because I know that we're going to have our expert on with you, Frank, who's going to delve into this and especially come from a man's perspective. So I know from the women that I coach and we speak through, I've seen different scenarios that pop up. There are women who are widowed, and maybe their loved one had an illness of some kind and they were the caregiver and had to go through so much. Maybe there was someone who divorce, separation, and the woman felt like she was doing everything in the relationship, holding the emotional space, being the adult in the relationship. So I continue to see themes of women over 50 that go, you know what? After 50, I want to be involved with somebody who is going to be an adult, who knows their stuff, who's connected to their stuff, who I don't have to be a parent for. And I want to be able to share my life with, not have to take care of another person. But at the same time, whether you're a woman or a man in our population, you have to figure out, why did something end? Okay. If it was separation, divorce, to find out what was your ownership of it. Like, you have to own what part in the relationship do you need to work on so you don't carry that out through the next relationship.
How do we deal with it? What do we do going forward and not make the same mistakes?
Well, that's the big key of what you just said. How many times I've seen people go from one relationship to the other, and not realize, wait a minute, first of all, why didn't that relationship work? What did I learn from that relationship to help me grow for the next relationship? Do I need to take a little bit of time and space to connect to my inner knowing and wisdom and understanding before I step back out there again? A lot of times people are going, oh my gosh, time is running out, time is running out. I'm running out, I'm running out. I can tell you that you will have all the time that you need to do what you're supposed to do here in this lifetime. But you've got to take the time to connect to your inner knowing and wisdom to understand what happened, what you did like, what you didn't like, what you will tolerate, what you won't, and what you want moving forward. I think, Silka, a lot of times men and women both forget that they're dealing, with the raw emotions of what happened. And oh my gosh, time is running out. And am I going to be alone? And what's going to happen? Instead of stopping and going, wait a minute, what did I learn? What did that person teach me? Even if it was horrible, and even if they died during the relationship, what did they teach me for my own personal growth, my soul growth, for the next person who I attract and connect with? So I want people to remember that don't just look at it from ground level. Look at it from a bigger level, a spiritual level, because there's so many different meanings with every single person that comes into our life.
Well, and you always bring such a deep view to it, which is what I love about having you on as my co-host now, because I'm a lot more simple.
And simple tip, that's okay.
When I was out there, I of course I went through divorce after 50, and I went back to high school. I was back, a silly girl, no confidence, wondering if he was going to call, whatever.
Of course.
I mean, is that something that you see a lot?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, I have. And I'm glad that you were so open to sharing that, Silka, because it's really important for other people to hear that. How many times I've seen both men and women, it's so funny, get back into relationships in our population, and I hear the same thing. They didn't call me. What do you think that means, Paige? Do I text them? Do I not text them? How far do I go with this? What do I do? And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're back in high school all over again. And what I keep coming back to is all of those insecurities, lack of confidence, all come back to what's going on within yourself. Like, what are you supposed to learn through this whole lesson? For instance, I have a woman that I'm thinking of right now who I'm coaching, and she's very dear, and she had her husband of, I think, 25, 30 years had died. So she had been taking care of him, and she had been dating different people, and it was just one challenge after another, until she finally realized, oh my gosh, I'm constantly trying to take care of the other person and fix the other person and not be who I am because I don't want to rock the boat. And what if I say the wrong thing? Until I finally said, cut the shit. Step in and be who you are. Because you know what? Take off the masks. Take everything off. This is who you are. Strip yourself down, because when you strip yourself down, when that person comes in, here I am. You're seeing the whole thing. And sometimes it's fabulous, and sometimes it's gorgeous, and sometimes it's downright ugly and messy. But that's okay.
Yeah, the stripping down part is at our age.
Yes. Yes, gravity takes hold of all that stripping down. That's
Well, that's a whole other issue,
Yes.
in and of itself. But yeah, so preparing yourself mentally and I like you're saying, and spiritually for being ready and open to another relationship. Is it true that we look for companionship more than passion at this point?
I've seen a couple different things. I've seen women who want companionship, and I've seen the men that I work with, they want that passion, they want that sex. But I've also seen, as they've gotten older in their 60s, 70s, it becomes back more of like a partnership, a companionship. It's a shame because as we go through life, that compassion, that empathy, that gentleness, that kindness really needs to be there throughout everything that we do with another person. But when we get older, we become a little bit more frail, a little bit more fragile. We've been beaten down a lot more. We understand things a lot better if we're connected and we allow the other person who has gone through their baggage and their bag that they bring to the table, because we're both bringing bags and luggage to the table, to the new relationship. So you have to be really open that we've lived how many lives now? How many things are in that bag that have been addressed or haven't been addressed?
You should write a book about that.
I should call it The Red Bag, Connecting the Journey of Healing Through Life, Death, and Beyond.
Yes, Paige has written a book. We've done some publicity on it, and we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, you're right. And I think the takeaway for me is that I'm a big believer in that the best is and can always still be ahead of us.
You're so right. Can the best be ahead of us? Yes. But I believe it's going to come a little bit messier, and it might come a little bit more damaged. For instance, your front doorbell rings, you go to the front door, and here's the UPS person. And here's the package of what's ahead for you in this lifetime. But what you notice is it's ripped, it's bent, there's a hole at the top, the one side's pushed in. But guess what? It's still really great.
Yeah.
And it's got great things inside of it for you.
Good. Well, I can't wait to start unpacking my bags, Paige. You're always so much fun to talk to, and I can't wait till you're back here in studio. I think we're out of time on this segment. We will be following this up with Frank from Top Gun Love, Frank Wiegers, to hear the man's perspective on how to seriously seek your soulmate. So we'll look forward to seeing you on another episode of Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life.
That's right. Paige, we'll see you next time.
See you soon, Silka.
Bye-bye. Before you move move on to another video, do me one quick favor and please subscribe to our channel. Buttons right here. I've also linked a few of our favorite videos about relationships, dating advice, starting over after 50 right over here. And be sure to visit our website, secondact.tv. Lots more resources there for you. Good luck. See you soon.